Excellent. So, Gabby, you were zigzagging between the vents?
I'm really having trouble telling this story. Yeah, zigzagging between the vents and climbing up the face of the slope until they sort of came together, and there was all this like shimmery water and cool bacterial mats of several colors, and it was just, like a neat feature. Just high drama.
High drama.
Was that your first discovered feature, in a sense? Like the first brand new feature that nobody had ever looked at before, where you were flying Herc?
Could have been. Could have been. Could have been. That would be sweet.
Yeah, it's a good feature.
That was an excellent feature.
Great feature. Thanks, Gab.
The best feature.
The best feature.
It was an excellent feature.
Toad's best.
Yeah. I'm trying to give the superlatives a break because I see so many awesome things. If I'm always like, this is the best thing ever, it's like all the other best things that I've seen like just don't get enough.
Yep.
Miles Graber.
Faster.
All right. I'm Miles Saunders. I'm navigator on this watch and primary for this leg. Coming from Seattle these days, and coolest thing I've seen this cruise. It's kind of a tie between the seal that was dancing around the vehicle for recovery and the blue shark that we saw last night. But there was only like 4 of us up here, so it was.
Wait.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There was a shark.
What?
Yeah, hold on. Give us some more details here.
It was in Herc main camera as we were recovering at about 75 meters.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, but it's like it was one of those moments where it's like you're kind of with some friends, but you're off on your own, and you see a deer, and you just kind of enjoy it. Enjoy it for what it is.
Was it tagged?
Deers don't have the same teeth.
Yeah.
Miles, stick your head around the corner and say hi. There you go. All right, thanks.
All right. Where are we next?
I'll go
Wayne's
next.
at the wheel. Okay.
Alrighty. Hi, everybody. My name's Wayne. I'm from Louisiana. The most exciting thing I've seen would also be the seal that hitched a ride on Hercules while we were recovering.
The seal did not come on board, to specify.
No.
It did get on top of Hercules at one point, yeah.
I still can't believe there were no pictures taken.
It was dark out.
We were doing
recovery. It would have been really hard to see.
It was strange. He was swimming around it, but he seemed to stay towards the back.
I'm not,
and he never swam in front of our high-res
Oh,
camera.
so
interesting.
I'm going down, but I'm also swinging in, so I'm going down faster.
Oh, got it.
All right.
Fewer beans.
Nope.
Well, it's the extra preloaded beans. There was a level of bean potential that you put in the cable, and you gave it too much beans earlier.
Well, Gabby did eat all my jelly beans, so. Okay.
For everyone listening at home, what we're talking about is that, so we go down tail to tail because it's safe. We know that we're at the opposite ends of the tether, and the vehicles aren't going to interact with each other in the water column. So Gabby was going about 60% on the horizontals, in part because of ship losing its GPS and just, making sure that we were going to stay farther apart. But as a result of the ship losing GPS and driving forward and Gabby going in the other direction, she pulled Argus away from hanging underneath the back of the ship. And
by like 100 meters. It was a lot.
And then when she lowered her horizontals to like 20%, Argus is swinging back underneath the ship and dragging Herc back to the stern of the ship. So while I'm still going down, my payout is still 23 meters per minute. My rate of descent has increased.
That didn't explain the beans reference.
And so,
But thanks for the story.
but I wasn't going to explain the reference. I was just letting you know what we were talking about. My mission's still accomplished. I gave it the beans.
Okay.
Okay. Greg's second introduction. Second breakfast, second introduction. Hi, everyone. I'm Samantha Wishnak, communications manager for OET and communications lead out here. Oh, now am I waving?
Yeah.
Now I'm waving. I forgot my own question. Oh, I live here, but my things are in Monterey, California. And the coolest thing I've seen on this expedition was it was already mentioned this morning. I heard it down in the data lab, the squid that came on board Herc. And actually, we did throw it back over. It was about 2 feet, 1.5 feet, 2 feet long. We did throw it back over, and it actually seemed to swim back down, which was pretty cool to watch. Probably a Humboldt squid. It had really, really nice hooks all over its tentacles.
Wow.
So sometimes
Those don't sound nice.
they're gorgeous hooks, all running down the tentacles, and they're pretty fierce. But yes, they're not. They can be
They're
not
not
nice.
for like giving hugs.
No.
or anything.
No,
I have
fair,
a
fair
hooked
point.
tentacle hug.
Yes.
I will pass, but thank you.
Humboldt squid are like not known for friendliness.
No, they're not. But I still like them. I don't know.
Was Mark the one who told you it was swimming? Or?
No, I saw it.
Okay, you saw it.
Yeah.
All right, just
no,
confirming.
yeah. It's not my first cruise out here.
Sam was informed that there was a squid on the vehicle, and she ran outside.
I walked briskly.
Yes, safety first.
Safety first.
One hand on the ship at all times.
One hand for squid. All right, science row.
Hi, I'm Ashley. I'm the data logger. I'm going to be basic and say my favorite thing so far has been the hydrothermal vents themselves.
That's the whole point. That's not basic.
So,
Give us a wave.
hi.
And Ashley, what about the vents has you intrigued?
Just seeing them because I've learned about them in school, and so it's cool just actually getting to see them in real life, in real time.
Absolutely. And where did you say what school you're coming from?
Oh yeah, I went to the University of South Carolina.
Awesome.
And you have a journey you're about to embark on.
Yeah, getting ready to start my PhD.
And you head to New Zealand.
Yep, in New Zealand.
Yeah.
New
So-
Zealand. Well, we've definitely got some New
Exciting
Zealand
times.
viewers who I'm sure will write in.
I concur.
Ashley, where in New Zealand?
Wellington.
Awesome. All right, Darlene.
I am Darlene Lim. I'll give you a wave.
Thank
and I'm based at the NASA Ames Research Center, which is in Mountain View, California, which is just nestled between San Francisco and San Jose. And I'm the PI of Subsea. I'm super happy to be here. It's hard for me to choose one thing that has been really remarkable or my favorite thing. I've decided to cheat and pick like a few things. I definitely agree. I mean, I'm with Ashley, the hydrothermal vents themselves, they're incredible, just so beautiful. And it's been just wonderful to come upon every single time, and even the kind of more gentle diffuse flow. I shouldn't call them seeps, I should call them vents. But then the other thing that I loved actually was as we left port in Vallejo and pushed through the Golden Gate and then out to sea, that was really special. And even though I live in the San Francisco Bay Area, the bridge itself never ceases to amaze me, and actually passing under and then through it and then out to the open waters, that was something I've actually never had a chance to do before, and it was really wonderful. And then the third thing, for me, I'm going to go mushy on my last one too, like Greg, and it's been watching the whole team come together and just seeing that evolution over the last 10 days or so. That's been really special, and you can kind of feel that as that closeness and those bonds kind of get built. I'm done.
Aww.
Boat life.
Boat life.
Hashtag boat life.
Yeah.
Nobody cry.
I'm Eric Sham, sitting at
Oh.
chart 1.
Hi, Eric.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
Oh.
More importantly, how are you? Give us. Oh.
I'm tired.
Okay. Oh.
I didn't sleep last night.
All right, hold on.
Oh. Wayne's coming around.
Wayne's
Give us a
trying.
wave.
What happened?
Oh.
Oh, wait, no, wait.
Oh, you're trying to track me
Wait,
down on
wait,
camera?
We
Yeah.
can't find him.
Can you
There's a
even see
smiley
me?
face. Is that you? Nope.
Where is
I'm
he?
gonna hide.
Nope. Can't find him.
Oh,
There's a
there he
leg.
is. He's
Oh,
running.
an arm.
There he is.
So I'm a scientist currently from Texas, South Padre Island at UTRGV. And I'd say the best thing I've seen is being able to collect my vent fluids without melting any of my equipment.
That's the coolest or most beautiful thing you've seen.
Coolest.
Yeah.
It can be beautiful too.
So what's the limit then to melt your equipment?
We don't want sustained temperatures of 120 to 130. We can take bursts of it, but taking it too long will probably melt the internals of the super sampler and the inlet and everything else.
And we've been cruising near vents that are up to 300 Celsius?
Yeah,
Okay.
so we don't take straight from the vents that are at 300 C. We generally take it from somewhere above the orifice, wherever it originates from. That way it has a chance to dissipate that heat into the surrounding seawater first. But we can still get some pretty cool chemistry analyses from that while we're on board the Nautilus.
Excellent. Anyone else?
Nope, that's it.
Sneaking in. All right. I was also going to add one of the coolest things I've seen are the pycnogonids. My brain's
The sea
blanking on the common
spiders?
name. Thank you. Yes.
You're welcome.
That have been surrounding some of the diffuse vents we've been looking at, and then also they've been coming up on some of the rock samples. And they look exactly as they sound. I've got a lot of viewers tuning in from all over the world, from Brazil, Kentucky, New Zealand, Michigan, California. So I'm sure they'll start writing in favorite sightings so far. And for the folks watching at home, this is the 5th dive of the subsea expedition out here for 2019 at Gorda Ridge. And if you're curious to learn a little bit more about that program, head over to the expedition tab and you can meet the whole team on board currently, read a couple of summaries, blog about the program, and actually see some of the research done last year as part of the subsea program at Luihi Seamount off the Big Island of Hawaii. And Darlene, do you have a minute to give us kind of a overview of the connections between Luihi program last year and this program here?
I have a lot of minutes. And
Excellent.
yeah, so as you mentioned, this is the second of 2 cruises under the banner of Subsea. And so Subsea is a NASA NOAA funded project in partnership with OET. And what we're trying to do is
I'm assuming you asked for Bubble.
basically explore down 3 different research pathways. And the first one is that I'll bring up is our natural sciences research pathway. And there we have a bevy of scientists from actually all throughout the country who are examining the vents at Luihi as well as here at Gorda Ridge as a potential analog to vent systems on other ocean worlds in our solar system. And so they're measuring the temperature of the vents, they're taking the water so that they can analyze the chemistry so that they can
clockwise.
make inferences about the water rock reactions happening at depth. They are looking at the microbiology, and they're looking at the rocks themselves to understand what rock types are there and how they might be altered over time and interacting with the water.
I don't think so.
And they've been doing that at both Luihi and here at Gorda Ridge. And then we also have another research pathway, which is the social sciences or cognitive systems engineering as well. This research pathway is actually examining the boat and the shore interactions, the telepresence connection or architecture, as, again, a potential analog, and they're trying to evaluate the potentiality of this being a good analog for future human spaceflight. And so when we send humans deeper and deeper into space, there's going to have to be a connection that's established, and we want to understand what are the best ways to design for that and enable science under that paradigm. And the third one is technology. So we've got a group out of NASA Ames who has designed something called the Exploration Ground Data System, which is a wonderful software system that synthesizes information coming from a variety of different sources. So we use this system on land. We use it now, in the deep sea. We've used it in other aquatic environments, such as freshwater lakes. And it's a mechanism of putting information together in a meaningful way so that scientists can make decisions quickly and effectively, and increase our science productivity. So fundamentally, we wanted to make sure that we didn't just work at one site and that we didn't make inferences, especially when it came to the natural sciences as well as the social sciences, about the environments that we were studying that were too custom to one site. It's always a fear. You want to be able to make sure that what you're seeing is, and what you're finding and the ideas that you're generating actually have some broader applications. So a nice way of doing that is to visit more than one site. And so that's why we went to Loihi last year, and that's why we're here off the coast of California this year.
Awesome, thank you. And Darlene, what is your sort of, I mean, you kind of mentioned it, but watching the team come together, but what's been sort of some of the biggest takeaways for you from launching this program?
Well, I can talk for a while about OET. All of you, I've said this actually publicly in presentations before with NOAA leadership, with NASA leadership, that I've been really impressed with just the professionalism and the level of organization and motivation that everybody from OET brings to every single expedition, and just even the pre-mission, the pre-deployment organization has been really remarkable, and has actually made my life a lot easier, because typically, in many of the projects that I run, I'm in charge of kind of thinking through all the pre-mission deployment elements, and that's a lot of work. And the leadership folks like Nicole, yourself, Allison, take a lot of that off my plate and just make it so much simpler to deploy, and just think about think about the research as we get on the ship. So so that's been great, and I'm really hoping that we can see more partnerships between NASA and NOAA in the future, not only under this kind of research banner in the deep ocean, but under a lot of other applications. And of course, NASA and NOAA partner extensively on earth sciences, but then specific to ocean exploration, I'd love to see that continue in the future. And there are lots of different ideas that we're kind of tossing about right now.
Exciting, indeed.
It was exciting.
Well, we will get your blog up on the website soon, Darlene, so folks at home can learn a little bit more about how this program came to be. Hoping to post that later today.
Cool.
But in the meantime, as I mentioned, check out the expedition page. That links out also to the Subsea Research Program page itself, so you can learn more directly from the source and see all the folks behind this program, both on the ship and on shore. And actually, have we looped in shore yet?
Oh, we haven't heard from shore yet.
Okay.
I don't think they're there. I see Tamar, but she might not be at the ISC, so yeah, we're kind of standing by.
Perfect. Ooh.
What's that?
I see you guys checking out the vehicle.
Yeah.
It's now a good time for a little tour of
what
what we've got. Yeah.
Tour of the vehicle. Okay.
That's the bottom of the vehicle.
This is, we're looking down now. What kind of tour do you want? Do you want all the things? Do you want the porch things?
Well, maybe a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Okay.
We're here at the front porch, so it's like, the welcome mat.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay.
Porch is kind of the welcome mat. So on the porch, the most obvious thing you can see is the black arm that's sitting sort of curled across the porch, and that's Mango the arm. Mongo. This isn't.
Bingo, bango.
Yeah, exactly. Sort of our more heavy-duty, kind of slower arm gets a little bit less use, but is really good for like big, heavy stuff and keeping things in place on the porch. And it's covering up 2 sampling vessels called IGTs, which are used for water sampling, and I don't know a ton more than that. But we'll be using them on this early on this dive to take some water samples for one of our scientists. Also on the porch is that bucket lid that says F on it is a marker that'll float when we put it on the bottom, and it's weighted with a length of chain. There's also a crowbar. That's the blue and black striped handle that's used, that's actually got 5 centimeter tick marks on it. You can stick into sediment to see how deep it is.
Wait, what is that? The crowbar?
Yeah, the crowbar.
It's the ICBM.
That was my question. Okay.
I
The international.
The iron.
Oh, the iron crowbar.
The iron crowbar measurer.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
The iron crowbar of measurement.
You gotta at least remember your own acronym.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Miles.
It's early.
Okay, just to the right of the F label is a black grippy ball that's attached to a temp sensor. The temp sensor is wired back to the vehicle with a blue curly Q of cable.
What's that temperature sensor rated up to?
Hundreds of degrees. Yeah.
Mucho
and it's-
calor. Okay.
Yeah, so the temp sensor is inside 2 tubes of titanium as well. And then
It's not all the degrees, but it's a lot of them.
it's a good, yeah.
Most of the degrees.
I
Almost
don't
all
know.
the
I don't
beans.
know how to answer that exactly, but it's enough degrees for what we're doing. There's also 2 sets of hockey pucks that are screwed together. Those are handles that allow us to grip 2 other wands, we call them. One is an intake wand that allows us to bring water into a sampling system that one of our scientists is running, and one is the exhaust. That's how water gets expelled out. So we'll also be using those on this dive. I'm getting my joysticks mixed up. Oh, crafty. And then we've got the arm on the starboard side of the vehicle. This is the craft arm. It's a little more dexterous and moves a little bit more precisely. We use that for most of our sampling to grab the wands.
Josh picked
And
up
the
a raw
IGTs.
egg successfully.
Yes, I remember seeing that. That was amazing.
On deck, not on the seafloor.
No, there weren't any raw eggs. There have been raw eggs. No, yes, there have been raw eggs down there. We took raw eggs down a few years ago to see what would happen. That was
And?
amazing.
They got salty.
They got salty, or no, they got sulfury,
Oh.
but they did not break.
Did they also cook? Were they near vents?
They were near vents. I don't think they cooked, though.
Okay.
No, there's no cooking.
Let's see what else can I find to talk about. This black sheet of plastic in front of me is the top of a box that we can open and close and stuff samples into. Or in this case, I think microbial experiments.
Gingerly place.
Stuff. Gingerly place. Gingerly place. That's right. I haven't been a Herc pilot very long. Gingerly place experiments into. The reason it's black is because if it's white, it becomes very saturated in all the light. It reflects the light from all of Herc's lights back into the camera and makes it very hard to dial the camera colors properly. Gets very distracting as well. Right. What did I miss? The rope.
The rope.
Which rope? Oh, the hemp?
The sisal.
The sisal. There is some rope. You can see it on the right side of the porch. And that rope is actually attached to the porch very lightly with some zip ties. And then it's also attached a lot less lightly to a couple of 16-pound weights that we can dump if for some reason the vehicle becomes too heavy, allows us to come up a lot faster, or allows us to adjust our ballast on the fly if we get to the bottom and we find that we're very, very much too heavy.
How about the marvelous invention of Sir Niskin?
Right, Sir Niskin.
Sir Roger Niskin.
Sir. Is that actually? We decided that wasn't his name,
No.
but it was a good proxy
Wasn't
for
his
his
name like Shale though?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Shale
Shale,
Niskin.
which is definitely crazier than Sir Roger.
So if you're watching on the quad screen, you can see both the, well, two parts of the Niskins that Gabby will explain shortly.
Okay, so these. Oh, did you put the port rail up on the quad?
Yep.
Okay, so if you're looking at the. Oof, can you lighten up the Herc screen just a little bit? Just a little iris. Yeah, that looks great. So if you're looking at the left-hand side of Herc HD, you can see a number of loops with colored tape on them. Each one of those is the trigger for a separate one of the gray jars that you can see on the port rail camera. As we pull one of those triggers with the arm on the right-hand side of the vehicle, each jar will close. And those are Niskin bottles. And they trap water inside, and so you can sample, and they seal, so you can sample water at whatever depth you pull the trigger. Yep. Yeah, Niskins.
Niskins. Water
And
clamps.
Water clamps, exactly.
Yeah, it's back.
Yeah, you know where it was?
No. Trying to steal the pen of science.
And so concludes our tour of the front of Herc
Thank you, Gabby.
and the port side.
Yeah, Sam, you missed a fishy descent.
I did see it, actually. I was
you
in
were
the data
watching.
lab, yeah.
We lost them around 550 meters.
I was a
Interesting.
little skeptical.
That was their
That was
limit,
Very good.
but they followed us down.
Yeah. Do we have any idea of species?
McTophid
I didn't.
would be a guess.
McTophid, yeah. Pretty common, the lanternfish.
You know, I was listening to the statements about vents being the most exciting thing, and I realized that from a piloting perspective, vents are just, you know, like they are very exciting. I've been to a number of them, and they're really neat to see. But from a piloting standpoint, they also add a lot of challenges. Instead of a flat seafloor, you have random spires, so you have to be monitoring your cameras and really pay a lot of attention to where you were relative to the last vent that you saw. And then the heat that comes out of the vent is enough to do damage to parts of the vehicle. So there's that. There's also, when you go to set down, sometimes you create a new vent right underneath you. And so it just adds a lot of complexity to piloting.
You know, it's interesting. We actually had someone write in asking us during the last dive, I think once the dive had wrapped up, asking us to explain the interest in these vents. And the comment was, you know, year after year of looking at the same thing in different places, which is an interesting perspective because sometimes vents do look very similar, but we're in totally different parts of the world.
Right.
And, you know, I think we're, at least on Nautilus, we work with different partners every year. And so the specific interests are different year to year. But Darlene, what can you kind of connect the subsea interest in vents in
Well,
particular?
I mean, just to address that comment, like vents around the world are still just barely explored in my, fundamentally. There's just, we don't even know how many vents there are. We don't know what all the chemistry is of the different vents, and there are different types of vents that have different types of chemistry because there are different water rock reactions that are happening at depth, as well as when the water travels up through these chimneys, there are different chemical reactions that can happen on the way up before it actually vents out. And our Earth's oceans are so vast that to, kind of blanket, just say vents are all the same is not correct. In fact, there's probably a lot of diversity that we haven't even explored yet. And even yesterday, we found that within a kilometer of where we had been working was a series of vents that were unknown until we dropped in on them at the end of our dive. And, that's just within a kilometer of where a lot of people have worked in the past. So there's just so much that's unknown that we are getting the chance with every single dive to know about. And
Yeah,
that's exciting.
And I think to answer the internet's question, it's difficult to gather data. There's not very many vehicles that go down to these vents. There's not very many ways to sample or gather information about these vents. And so, yeah, we do go back year after year, but it kind of also indicates how difficult it is.
Exactly.
And how few ways there are to gather information about the vents. So it's kind of one of the new areas of interest. And so that's where we're spending a lot of our time.
Well, and the other thing is, every time we go down, as you're saying, Greg, it's it's complicated, but then you don't necessarily get the opportunity to explore every characteristic of that vent. And so, for example, these vents have been the ones here at Gorda Ridge have been explored since the late 90s, and yet nobody's actually taken water samples for the purposes of culturing and understanding what type of microbial populations are associated with some of the lower temperature vents. This is being done now for the first time by Julie Huber's group and Amy Smith and Sarah Hu at Hui. And the loveliness about science is that if you do your work right, you basically just lay a tiny little thin icing on, or a layer of a cake, and then somebody else can come along and build on that over time. And every time that you discover something, it leads to more questions, and that's why you'll see researchers go back again and again and again, not only to hydrothermal vents, but to different environments around the world, because questions keep popping up. And as we get to know more about not only our planet but other planets, you can make inferences, you can relate knowledge broadly, and then that also generates new knowledge gaps. So it's a constant process.
Yep. Yeah, and so as you go back to different vent sites, again, there's only a few ways to get there, so welcome to Nautilus Live.
Good tying it back there. Yeah, for frequent Nautilus Live viewers will remember that for the last several years we've been working with Ocean Networks Canada, looking at and returning to the same vent sites year after year. But Ocean Networks Canada maintains a extensive 800-kilometer cabled observatory that runs from shore all the way out into the abyssal plain, and different stops along the way have different instruments and sensors, but there is an observatory site out at the vent system, so we return every year. Gabby's often out there. Is Gabby on SPL? Hi, Gabby.
Hey, what's up?
I'm curious what it's like to work amidst the very, very large black smoker chimneys at the vent fields, like Endeavour and
it's real
Mothra,
exciting.
Godzilla.
It's just a little bit on the white knuckle side of things.
Yep.
Because there's a lot to think about as far as like where the vehicles are relative to each other and to the towers. You have to keep the
because Godzilla is what, like
30 meters tall.
At
Wow.
least.
You have to keep the tether. So often we've got a 50-meter tether So you've got a long tether to manage to begin with. That's difficult even if you're not among the vents. But when you're among the vents, you've got to make sure that tether stays out of the high temperature fluids and doesn't get snagged on any of the towers. And to really get Herc into the cool spots, into some of the places where instruments are located, you have to just be like very careful. You're constantly keeping an eye on all your sonars, making sure that you haven't gotten Argus too close to something. Every
Right.
time you need to move Argus, it takes a ship move that takes minutes to telegraph down the wire because you're already at over 2,000 meters. So you can't make any fast changes. You have to plan ahead. You have to see things coming. And it really helps to know the site. And it is ridiculously cool. It is breathtakingly amazing. These are very cool vents for sure, but like having giant spires everywhere is pretty mind-boggling.
Yeah, and we move a lot of instrumentation around. Usually that's what we're doing, is we're deploying or retrieving instrumentation. So, you know, you're flying around with that and then flying the cable back in to plug into the cabled observatory. And the concern there, of course, is that you have to make sure that cable that you're flying back to plug in, that is not getting into any vent fluid and that's laying safely, because the last thing you want is you plug it in and recover the vehicles and they're like, yeah, it's just not working. So there's a lot of challenges and a lot of thought involved.
And our navigation is sort of, so it's a little bit more accurate than 1% water depth. So, you know, close to 3,000 meters, we expect 30 meters is sort of the best we can do. And then add in hydrothermal fluids and severe density changes sort of right at the seafloor, and that sort of expands that a bit more.
I
So you have
forgotten about USBL not working down
yeah,
there.
you can have just no idea where your vehicles actually are, but
the vehicles
you
don't
gotta
have
fly
autos either.
Nope. And then you got to fly between two towers and keep everything straight.
Normally you get to, like, if you really need to, you can throw Herc into autos and do some work. But autos don't really work very well at the vent sites. And it's so much more complex than your average.
And luckily it's, all right, we have bottom in sight on sub-bottom. But luckily it's not...
I don't have bottom lock yet.
Yeah, you won't for a while. It's not as friable as some of these chimneys. So, I mean, there are areas of it that certainly are that friable, but you know, on a 30-meter chimney, if you're operating 15 meters up on the chimney, you have to find some place to kind of set the vehicle down or get a corner on a chimney or on a ledge without breaking it, you know, and so there's a lot of very ginger piloting. You know, you want to make sure that you're stable, but also, you know, sometimes and it's funny, sometimes you get no more than maybe like one corner of the vehicle, of the porch, and so that's like maybe 1 square inch on a ledge, and that's what's holding the vehicle. So you have to be using the arm and paying attention to everything else, but also be aware that like the vehicle that precarious perch could slip or break, and you don't want to go driving straight into Mothra, Godzilla, or Bambi.
All great vent names. For the folks watching at home, if you click on the expedition, you can then check out our expedition map and see where we've been in the last couple of years, and you can actually watch some of the highlights from those vent sites that were just mentioned. Excellently named.
Now, is the ship moving north again?
Negative.
Okay, so it's just a current moving us south?
Yeah.
So we've got some great questions coming in. This one I think will be fun for everyone to answer.
Yeah, you're fine.
So folks are asking us to talk about what normal life is like on board. Meals, off hours, laundry, and what about that manicure your navigator had the other day?
Manicure? Who's writing this in? Just some off-watch entertainment. You know, just because we're out here and there's only, 48 of us total doesn't mean one can't feel pretty.
Yeah, his nail looks fabulous.
Is it still done?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
He's been avoiding deck work, actually, to try and keep it nice.
It does catch me off guard every once in a while. I think something is dirty or something.
That doesn't bother you, though.
So what about other off-hour
Activities?
What have folks been up to this cruise?
I eat a lot of citrus. I'm worried about scurvy.
Let the record show that scurvy is not an issue aboard exploration vessel Nautilus.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And has not been for the last 200 years.
There's really good oranges, though. I've been eating a
The
lot of
grapefruits
oranges.
have been really good.
Yeah.
All right, 100 meters off bottom.
Roger. 75 meters off bottom. Thanks for correcting the records.
Ashley, what have you been up to when you're not data logging?
I've actually been reading this book about.
So we can either go down to the bottom and then do the turnaround, or we can turn around in the water.
It would be great to turn around at like 50 meters.
Okay. You want me to stop at 50 meters?
Yeah,
or?
you can stop at 50.
Sure.
I'm going to start slowing my roll, though.
So much suspense. What's the book, Ashley?
Oh yeah, so it's called Soundings, and it's
Oh,
about this really famous female geologist who mapped the seafloor for the first time in like the early 1950s, 60s, 70s.
Murray Tharp.
Yep. So that's been really, really good. Almost finished with it. I started
Awesome.
it only like 4 days ago, so since we've had some time off, I've had some time to read it.
Excellent.
Otherwise, just hanging out with people, eating good food, working out in the gym. Good times.
Awesome. Anyone else reading any ocean books while they're on board this trip?
No, not this trip.
No, not ocean related.
I just put in an order for more books for the ship library. So if viewers at home have any recommendations, send them in.
Is there a special theme that belongs in the Nautilus library?
We should do South
Ocean?
Pacific.
South Pacific.
All right, I'm
Mostly
coming
it
in. I'll
was-
stop at 50
Okay,
off
I'm
bottom.
heading down.
I was augmenting our
I'm a little bit above
I like
you.
the book Cod.
COD. Okay. Oh, I think we actually may have had a copy of it at some point. Most of the books I was getting were more on the ID guide side of things, but
Ah,
some
yeah, that's good.
particular ocean fiction or nonfiction is also welcome. Couple
Log
coffee
of the
table
Sea
books.
of Cortez.
Oh yeah, we got that one. Actually, you know what? I haven't seen it this year, so it might have.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Or like Cannery Row.
All right, I went into auto head.
Yep.
Roger. I've got my tension off of you, kind of. Okay, I've got a delta of 16, which seems pretty decent.
There's a great Arctic exploration book called, I think it's called The Arctic Grail. It's by Pierre Burton. And it's all about the
All right.
Northwest Passage.
So
Oh, nice.
now, what direction are we going to be heading?
East southeast.
East, southeast.
Once Argus settles out and gets back to the ship, you'll probably end up going more or less east.
All right, so you want to meet at 090?
Mm-hmm.
Argus has maybe 30 to 35 meters to swing back to the ship.
Okay. I'll back down a little bit more aggressively then.
I don't see you in any cameras yet.
Okay.
What are we anticipating to see as we reach the seafloor? Is a vent site or near a vent site?
Actually, if we complete the swing in, we should be near the brooding octopus.
The 3 or 4 we saw, handful of them we saw one of the first couple dives.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
2 dozen or so.
Oh, oh, that many. Okay.
Okay,
Wow.
I'm coming into your fisheye.
Okay, and I am rotating to 090.
Okay. I'm rotating to 090 as well.
All right, so you need to drive forward.
Yep. Should be coming into view soon. Oh, I'm chasing you down a little bit too.
Yeah, you might want to drive like a 060.
Yeah.
Do you guys have an estimate how long it'll take to get to the site?
How long will it take to get to site?
Yeah, to the first
You probably got a half hour.
half hour. Just want to wake up Sean.
Okay. I'm ready to proceed to the bottom whenever you guys are.
Sure.
Ready.
I'll follow you down.
Okay, heading down.
You still have no auto.
I have no auto? Yes, I know. Yes, agreed. Not auto XYing.
Correct. But I'll get you there soon.
I don't feel strongly about it. No rush.
Eric, should we go get him up now?
I say we have half an hour. I'll wake him up in 15.
Okay.
I can see the bottom in Herc.
Your target bearing is, yeah, pretty much 090.
Roger.
But if you want to white balance and whatnot, I can let you turn on autos and then we can reset.
Okay.
Stand by.
I've got autos on.
Autos
You're
are
still in auto depth though, not.
Yes. Is that okay?
Yeah, I'm just like making sure you're aware.
I don't know why
what is
my
it doing?
horizontals.
Yeah, but watch what it's doing.
I know. My horizontals are like full.
I think you enabled autos before I switched you over.
Oh, okay.
So you're back to USBL.
Yeah, did you see that? I went full
All right.
100.
I'm switching you back now.
Okay.
Okay. You should be good now.
Okay, we look stable.
Yeehaw.
Okay.
Video, are you ready for white balance?
Video is ready for white balance. Do we have all the lights on?
I can throw porch light on too.
Yeah, that helps.
Okay. Okay, video, you can go for zoom.
Zooming in.
You can back off a little. Go wide. Go wide.
Go wide, sorry.
Okay, let's try that again.
Okay.
Zoom in.
Zooming in.
There you go.
I like it. Thank you.
Numbers look good.
Awesome. Okay, so what are you going through in your brain? So when I get to the bottom, I'm thinking, like, what are my, like, if I'm in autos, what are they doing? What my
Right.
nav is set up as?
We're going to lose video for just a moment.
Roger. Position relative to Argus. If there's any weird stuff on the sonars. A baseline for the daisy chain. Like what it looks like. It's pretty much just the normal stuff. Did I zero wraps?
Right.
Which we did.
And getting ourselves situated so like we'll get Mongo stowed and
Oh, right. Okay.
Mango.
Right.
Stand by.
You happy?
Stand by. Very much so. That's a
Okay.
perfect white balance.
Miles, can you explain to me a little more about what happened with the nav when I went into autos? What was going on, how we were set up, and how that was wrong?
Yeah, so whenever we dive, DVL is sort of stuck at the origin, right? And we go
Right.
down on USBL, so we have updating positions.
Right.
I mean, we would have updating USBL positions anyway, but I think the record would show that Herc just kind of sat at the origin. So by you enabling autos before I switched you over to use DVL, I effectively reset DVL while you were in autos.
Oh, okay.
Because so I moved DVL like a half degree, and Herc was trying to get back.
Okay. Got it.
Speaking of which, you want to come on out of autos so I don't do that again?
Oh, no, it's my bad. I jumped the gun for sure.
All right, resetting.
Okay. Yeah, you got it.
Good.
Okay.
Autos are all yours.
Okay, so we're heading, our heading is 090, and that's basically what we want to do to get where we're going.
Correct.
So it should be about upslope.
3 meters.
Okay. Greg, whenever you're ready, I'm ready to head that way. Oh, you want to do a Mongo stow first?
Good morning, ship. This is Vincent in ISC2, and I am with Chris German.
Copy all. Morning, Vincent.
Morning, Vincent.
Let me know when you want to start
I think,
moving.
Greg, after the Mongo stow, we're pretty set up, right?
Yep.
Go for it.
Roger.
Okay. Stowed.
Awesome. Ship move is in.
Did you know 9 is res?
No.
Yeah.
I did not
Ready?
know that. You just blew my mind. Are you serious?
Yeah, 9 is res.
Ah.
That's 8.
8 is close enough so you can actually read those gauges.
7 is nothing.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. That's like multiple hours of my life as Argus, is zooming and adjusting that camera to see those gauges.
I'm going to come down a little bit. I know you're going to be heading up soon, but
Yep,
give
that
you a little
sounds
bit
fine.
more tether.
I'm chomping at the bit.
Yeah, we're closer to 097 now.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd let a little
Yeah.
bit of tether build up because they want to do the transit at like 0.25 knots. So.
Roger. Also, I definitely had pulled Argus a little bit to the south of the ship, or a lot to the south of the ship.
Probably that may be current too.
Abby, let us know when you're officially starting. We're
Roger.
going to start logging for geo.
Do you have an altitude off bottom you want for that?
The directions are, hold on, stand by.
Whatever we can do, but safe.
Maintaining view of bottom. Yeah, it just says keep camera view angled down steeply as possible.
Probably, here's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, do like something like that.
You've lateraled down, so 093.
093?
We should come up the hill, find the chimney and marker C, and proceed just over the crest to waypoint 1.
Roger.
You're definitely floating up.
Yep, I gotcha.
An excellent cheat to figure out your Z-bias was just go into auto depth and see what. Just wait a little bit and see what it balances out around.
That's awesome. What a brilliant idea.
And well, it doesn't get it perfect, but it gives you an idea. So like you're going to be around 17, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Maybe 15.
Okay. Okay. Science, I'm gonna start
Let's get
the
bottom
transit.
again.
Roger that.
I'm just gonna come down a little bit and then we'll be on our way.